You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, not what you don't.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
Good morning. This is insane.
Thank you, folks.
Okay.
We made it another day. Living another day. Have we been shifted into an alternative universe without knowing it? I put some, like kind of a cocoa, I thought it was cocoa or something, some kind, into my coffee. Slurp. But it like kind of a plate makes it taste like nothing. You know? I don't know. So I guess I either didn't put enough, and by the way, I'm off of the, I'm just doing 100% Colombian coffee, not the Hawaiian Kona coffee. Just because I bought some. I ordered some. But I mustn't have put enough in or something. So it just tastes blah. Doesn't taste bad. This doesn't taste like anything. It's weird. And no, I don't have some kind of thing because I just ate some breakfast food, which was far too many sugars in it. That was just not, which was quite flavorful. Before I get into anything, I just want to get this out of the way. Okay. This is like the weather forecast. Today is Sunday the 27th. It's 4:20 exactly again. AM in the mid-Atlantic states. It's supposed to be 42 degrees. This was yesterday. I mean, we'll see if it changes. I'll check it. But according to this, it was supposed to be 42 degrees and mostly sunny. 35 tomorrow, 49, and then rain on Wednesday. And then if you look further down the line from like Saturday all next week, it rains for a week straight, basically. So I have 3 days, including today, to get my act in order. So let's see, that was 42, 35, and 49, no rain. Now let's see what changed overnight. Let's let it do its thing. Okay, Sunday, 39. So we could compare that. Fortunately, I am prepared with my own version. So in case you weren't paying very close attention. So it looks like the 39 for Sunday today has gone down to 39 as a high. The Monday has gone down, well, is at 37. Tuesday is at 52. And Wednesday is just showing clouds. I don't believe that. I imagine it's going to rain on Wednesday. And then Thursday, it's supposed to be clear. So anyway, today's supposed to be sunny and 39. Monday, 49. So I have 2 days. Well, I have 1 day. I'm going to have to do the upstairs work today because in more likelihood it's going to rain. I need 72 hours to prevent it from raining on my second floor instead, like the leak from the 4th floor ceiling to the 3rd floor attic all the way down to the 2nd floor bedrooms and hallway. Yeah, right. That's the kind of life I have. Welcome to my world.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
It's insane. All right, let's get into the show. On with the Bugs Bunny show. In my world, there is no war, poverty, or disease. Truth and beauty know no bounds. Have we been shifted into an alternative universe without knowing it? Think about that for a second. Welcome to my world. Won't you come on in? It's like some old country western song. When I used to call country music country and western. For the time being, I feel okay, like a guy who just woke up, like no apparent, for temporarily, no pain, shooting pains or anything like that. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like I'm saying, I'm just going to wing it. I'm almost rolled out of bed. I got up around 1 something, but I stayed in bed till about 3. And then I got out of bed. So all that said and done, considering I went to bed around 1, but woke up about 4 or 5 times last night, but managed to get back to sleep. But all that said, I probably got close to 8 hours of sleep. In the aggregate, as I say. Maybe there was an hour or more, but I got close to 8 hours of sleep. And that's the goal. As long as I don't touch certain parts of my body, I don't have any pain. I don't know, it's weird. I got weird pains on the other side and down lower, and I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's something new every day. It's hot. It's almost, it almost has I guess you got to put more. What I have to do is here's the deal. And then we'll get into the specifics of the show. We're only a few minutes into it. I have to put in another order today. I don't really think I'm going to walk to the grocery store because I have too much work to do upstairs. It's going to take me a couple hours of on my hands and knees trying to rip out stuff. I mean, it may take me all day if I decide to open up the other side. And I don't nearly have enough materials to do the job I need to do. See, that's the thing. So I don't know. I really just don't understand what the hell happened, why the hallway leaked. When this one spot seems to be dry, further on. So I have to get I have to get a measurement, and measure from wall to wall and find the spot, and figure out where the water's coming down. Now I know water will link along, basically wood. But the thing about it is this is like a weird attic. I'm really when I open up the ceiling in the 4th floor, basically the attic roof. In other words, it's the roof. You know what I mean? I could see sky if I knock a hole through. So it's not like a mystery. It's not really a mystery, like it's floating from some mystery place. And there's this old socket, old power thing. And I don't know where that wire's really going. And I really need to open up that whole area. So anyway, I don't want to deal with that. And so I want to really try to I want to try to have some peace and meditation and all that stuff, somehow. Because I really don't want this.
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
Yeah. I mean, well, that is going to be a happening. But
This is insane.
So, yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I ruin it. Okay, so let's get into this thing. Here I am. It's 4:29. I wasted a few minutes. Got a little piece of hangnail or something. Get rid of that. Okay, let's take care of that. All right, so the idea is this. But yesterday was a pretty interesting show. It was all over the place. And I don't know if Trey's going to watch this later or whatever, but if he watches it later or in between, he'll miss this. But my whole computer was frozen up from a really nice color image from his sunrise. Back now is like bothering me. So that's starting. A really cool sunrise. But it was so big. It was 14 megabytes or something like that. And it was just slowing down my whole thing. So I was like wasting like 10. I couldn't like get it closed. And so I was going to add it. And then I just couldn't. So, yeah, I'm going to deal with this. And all I can hope is hope for the best. And I'll try to take a look at, see if I could get his sunrise up. This, call it Trey Sunrise smaller, a smaller version of it. And let me rotate it around. Save. Quit. But then it wasn't going to show, and it was like a JPEG. So I'm going to try it again and just see properties, browse, and see if I could show you this sunrise. Sunrise small. There it is. Okay. Now it's showing weird filters. So what I have to do is like disappear, sharpen. Yes. Disappear, crop pad. Yes. Color correction defaults. There we go. Okay. Now. There. Won't you, what was the thing about my world? Welcome to my world. Won't you come on in? He said this was one of his favorites. This, not the song, this thing. So here we are. Here's a beautiful sunrise. Here's the ocean. You know, this is down. I'm in the mid-Atlantic state. He's down in like the southeast coast. I don't know, Carolina way, you know. I don't know. I actually don't even know where exactly. And I wouldn't tell anyway. I respect people's privacy. But boy, wouldn't that beautiful? You know, in that special. Not in that special. But that is, yeah, wouldn't I like to be there in about an hour or two, whenever the heck the sun rises down there, probably 2 hours. Isn't that neat? Yeah, it's nice. So this, I'm glad I got this working now, finally. So the idea here is this, you know, not so much this multiverse idea necessarily, or this idea of taking a spiritual approach to reality. In other words, controlling, you know, your perception. It was towards the end of the show yesterday. I was trying to mention this idea of consciousness and perception, and how things, you know, how we perceive things the way they are. But the question is, you know, something to ponder is there, or are there, or whatever, when it comes to truth and beauty, that are those things transcend beyond perception, you know, controlled or manipulated perception. And perhaps one of the reasons that we are being so manipulated by people, on this planet, right? And there's all kinds of, or beings or spirits or whatever, is that if you've noticed, there's so much to keep you away from this image. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? In other words, you are being kept away from seeing this sunrise. I mean, he's going out, he took this picture, this photograph, this image, at basically, just after sunrise on the East Coast. There may or may not have been anyone even visible, on the beach at that time. In other words, no other living soul. And if there was, it would be, the very few and far between. But, here we have, in part of I guess you would call them mystery schools, so to speak. This would be the salutation to the dawn. The celebration of that. And sometimes people read too much into ritual and things of that nature, and which they try to cloud, things in mystery, or ritual or something, so that the average person does not have, access to this truth and beauty, because those things are inalienable right, so to speak, or what you want to call, natural law. But, like I've said before, forget the word law. I don't like the word law. Law still means as if someone has to tell you something. If you are a part of a universe or a God consciousness, whatever one, then there's no law there. You see, it's just natural. It's like I tried to say I said, when I talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, it's like I don't like the word pursuit. And I'm the only guy that I know of that says that. It's like, no, take the word pursuit out and just make happiness. And it's the same with natural law. I know I'm the only guy saying this. What we're looking at is just natural. It's nature. Right? It's truth and beauty. It's something that is, and it exists. And it's something that they do not want you to experience. And who are they? Those powers that be that are basically waging wars, causing inflation, making people's lives miserable, right? Forcing people into a material world that is really just getting them deeper in debt, unhappy, and frustrated and depressed. So they don't want you to experience this. It's like the same talk about, and I'm going to get into a lot of different things about this. We're going to get into, because I'm not just going to be talking about, I want to go through this though for a second. I'm going to talk about this alternative universe. Okay, so just hang with me. All right. The idea is that it's not so much a matter of working hard or doing something. Though, that whole concept is kind of strange, particularly when people using the best moments and days of their lives, their waking hours, the best hours of the day, basically producing money so that they could buy things, accumulate things, pay bills and debts, maybe get a vacation and a break on the weekend or something like that. But accumulate all these things, pay a bunch of bills, and then die. And depending on, and who knows what your life expectancy will be, because it's like crazy now. Everybody, disease is rampant. And I'm not going to repeat that from yesterday. 50 million Americans died. So it doesn't matter how many people now die over in wars from this moment on. Because in the 21st century, 50 million people died of diseases like heart disease and preventable diseases. Kidney disease, cancer, diabetes, type 2 diabetes. You see what I mean? Pneumonia and flus, but not this. That doesn't include this, the flu that's basically they're phasing themselves out of, it seems anyway. But all sorts of, various diseases. And suicide. So it doesn't really matter. Forget about, that it's just like, it is just like the plague thing that we went through for 2 years. In other words, all of those things pale compared to 50 million Americans died unnecessarily, probably in most instances, because they're sticking extra sugar and poisons in all the food, pesticides inside the seeds. That's what like GMO type of things are, right? And all that kind of stuff. So that they could have automated machines pretty much do the job. People have no work to do, and then everybody's become lazy, so nobody wants to do a thing. And I was watching one guy was explaining that during World War II, 40% of the food produced, and it was produced by people were eating victory gardens. In other words, people were growing stuff in their backyards. And people had yards, even though they were little yards, except for tenement houses. But those people had things on the roof and stuff like that. Roof garden. And then when I went to the suburbs and all that kind of stuff, people suddenly got these big giant lawns and stuff. But instead of putting gardens in these giant things, they just started to create golf courses, what I call them, golf courses. And now they got these sit-down mowers for their own personal golf course with a deck and a grill or something. And, of course, a stake whose the prices which doubled or tripled now. And they're stuck with these SUVs now that cost, $1 or $2 more a gallon for gas to fill up. And everything else is shot up in price. So you're more of a wage slave no matter what. I mean, the middle class is really suffering. The poor, for the time being, are pretty much scraping by and doing okay. Some are actually more comfortable, have extra cash because of this program where they're given $300 or $250 for a kid. But they're using that extra cash. It comes in cash, and they could use that cash in anything they want. And so it's not like, I'm sure there's some people that are buying their kids like a new shirt and pants or this, that, the other, or whatever. But the people who are in poverty and stuff like that, they don't have to pay for anything to begin with. So giving them, if they have 3 or 4 kids, that's an extra $1,000 of cash they have. Because they're not paying for health care, or they're not paying for housing, they're not paying for anything else anyway. So it's not the poor so much that are the problem right now. And I went through that. I'm not going to get into the homeless and the stuff like that, and mental illness and different things. We talked about that. You could go back to other shows. This is a show more about like an alternative universe, really. Or some kind of state of mind, some kind of switch. And, so, think about this. Illness, poverty, depression, those kinds of things. War, right? And then look at this picture that's on the screen. And think of like your favorite music. I mean, I'd love to play some stuff. I was listening to some music in bed while I was laying back in bed, which I stayed in bed till 3. And so I let my Echo device play some music. So, it's really weird. So it's like, have we been shifted into an alternative universe without even knowing it? Is our perception of reality changed? Have we been so, like, have the past several decades been so horrific that we haven't noticed this, or that we've brought this perception on? And so we've actualized, right? We've perceived, we've created this reality, by being, focused on the media and caught up in this thing. And now we're like almost trapped in this insanity, this insane parallel universe that has nothing to do with truth and beauty, sunrises, sunsets, beautiful music. I mean, there are many of us who still do have a sense, who do see it. We see it, Trey sees it when he looks through the lens and captures this and experiences it because it's just a capture. So he gets to sit there, stand there, and see it, 360-degree immersive. You see, not some sort of metaverse, right? Or, some headset, VR headset, or augmented reality. So in this alternative universe that we seem to be living in, 50 million Americans died of diseases that could have been cured, treated, maybe prevented. 50 million. Right? A couple million homicides, murders in the same time period. Do you see what I mean? Those numbers are staggering, but true. You could just look up leading causes of death. CDC. They've thrown in the plague, is in there now. But that's only during this time period of the plague. This isn't lasting forever. And then now we have to look into this whole new, wealth of information that's coming out, certain things that were held back. So we're going to find out the truth eventually. But the idea is to just keep putting things in front of our eyes as a society, not me, I'm looking here. But putting the average person's eyes, have these things that keep moving from moving, that keep your eye off the ball. You see? In this case, the ball of light in the sky. The wheel in the sky keeps on turning. So it's like, we've shifted into an alternative universe and we don't even know it. And so we're living this different life that we've kind of created and we've perceived this. We didn't have to basically astral project or something or get into a lower vibrational frequency or density, right, to lower ourselves. Meanwhile, there's a hell of a lot of New Age people out there talking about, there's this shift going on and people are being enlightened and all this stuff. But it's really not happening. It's happening among the same people that have been meditating. It's like this unify movement that I was pushing on 2222 at 2, and there's starting to be some neat things that were done, like around the world. People, I saw, a song where they've released, and it's a music video, and it's people from all over the world playing the same song, but in other words, it's mixed together because they're all playing a part of this like live, Actually, it's a Kurt Cobain song. You should check it out. But what I'm saying is that it's a universe of perception. Reality is perception. It's what you perceive. It's how you perceive the world. And if you allow yourself to be caught up, and it seems this way, into this media, this drama, this war, this whatever. See, you may feel like people are probably glued to this Ukraine thing right now. And for some reason they might feel like, this is they're somehow being caring or sensitive to this, whatever. But the idea is, no, you should turn off the news and not even watch it. See, what you're doing is your energy, your life force, your concentration and fixation is what was really the big part about this. Your fixation on this news is going to keep it alive and extend it, because that's how perception works. That's reality. And you're in an alternative universe and you don't even know it. See, in my world, there is no war, poverty, or disease. Right? Hunger, crime. Those are the things you've got to focus on. But the only way you're gonna be able to make that stuff, remember, energy creates matter, right? That's how it works. And again, I talk about these things. I have to constantly preface, I shouldn't, but I don't want to bore people, certain people, so they just don't think I'm saying the same thing over and over. Everything I talk about interconnects constantly. So there's many repetitive aspects to these shows, especially, since I've done hundreds and hundreds of them. The Big Bang Theory, so to speak. As I said, energy has produced all the matter. And so now you are matter. So if someone touches your skin, okay, they are touching matter, but that matter, all the cells of your body, and like yesterday I was getting into the microbiome, all the bacteria, because really we're basically, we exist, the bacteria is driving us. There's an ecosystem there, right? Within us. And there's this consciousness and an energy in this soul experience, right? Within us and without us. Within and without. And around, I should say. It might be confusing to some people. Not without, meaning not there, but within us and around, all around us, surrounding us. And so energy is producing matter. What we perceive is the material world, the conscious world, all right, as perceived through these material bodies and the senses that they, have. And the forces that are placed upon them in this microbiome and, in this whole ecosystem and this cosmos within a cosmos, right? So, have you allowed yourself to shift into an alternative universe and you don't even know it? There are young people, think about it, the size of the United States. They've never seen this. This is a true story, and this happened many, many years ago. I was like dating this girl for a short period of time when I lived in this town, this weird town. It's one of my in-between times. It was like it was like in between going back to I was already in LA, did some work in LA and stuff. Then I was going to go back. I came back east, did work down in the shore. And then I moved to this town. It's a long story. I don't want to get into it, but it was just out. It was out in the country, and it's funny how all these things come together because I don't prep my shows or anything, but I was like, that town was like really country western type of town. They had all the social clubs, right? And Saturday night dances. And the people almost talked with kind of like a country type of twang type of thing, but really it was like the mid-Atlantic states. It wasn't that far from where I am. Maybe maybe an hour and a half to, I don't know what it was, a couple hours from where I am now. Long time ago, long enough that they forget me, I forget them. I owned a building there, and the building was, was eventually torn down. I learned about that when I was in LA. Because I had abandoned, I left a lot of stuff there and lost a lot of stuff. I had a whole office in there. I was going to use as a movie production studio. That's a long story. But I remember getting a notification once. I guess they contacted me through a relative or something. And they were like, yeah, you won't have to worry about paying any back taxes or anything on that building. We want to demolish it. We want to turn it into a parking lot. It was a huge place. Huge. And I said, yeah, what the heck. I was living the life like on the screen here, except that instead of a sunrise, it was a sunset. Living in Malibu. What did I care? Lost a bunch of material things, clothing and, all kinds of stuff. Papers, file cabinets. I had a desk in there. I had a really cool desk. Who knows what I had in that desk and file cabinets and stuff. I don't even remember. But anyway, for a short period of time, this was. So I dated some girl. I dated a couple of girls there. But I couldn't say I dated. I only really dated one girl. I went out with a couple other girls while I was there. But I dated this one girl on and off a little bit. And it was a real country western type of story. Country western type of thing. And she had never been to the beach. So one time I said, let's just get in the car and let's just escape. I'm going to take you down to like, we drove to Cape May or someplace like that. It was Cape May, yeah. All the way down to the Cape, and took her there and walked her down to the beach, sat on like a, I don't know, little wooden log or something. I don't know. And it was almost around sunset, just before sunset. Or, it was around that time. It was still light, summertime. had grabbed some food, shore food, and took her to this place, and she was like, her mind, she was overwhelmed with emotion because she had never seen the ocean, the beach, the sunrise or sunset over the ocean, just blew her mind completely. She was totally like it was just, it was pretty wild to watch. But most people just have never seen that firsthand. When I bend down, I'm drinking coffee. I realize that's frustrating. Mark Zuckerberg wants to put you in the metaverse so that people can experience that through some kind of 3D thing. And the truth of the matter is, for many people, the best they're ever going to get is this in 3D. Because the cost of living, the price, the inflation, real estate down at the seashore. Like I say, the seashore used to be my stomping grounds when I was younger. And we used to be, after school, high school, we used to get summer jobs down the shore, and then throughout college and stuff, I did that kind of thing until I got into some serious, projects and stuff. But yeah, I was out there all the time. I can recall sitting on lifeguard stands with a girl on a full moon night when the moon was really low and looked really big in the sky, and it was orangey almost, and it was like reflecting along the water, and sitting in a lifeguard stand with some girl hanging out, watching that kind of thing. Those experiences. You can't experience that stuff in VR. The sound of the surf, right? The smell. In other words, there's so much effort being put into like this, to create this artificial recreation of life, right? Of reality. But meanwhile, 50 million people are dying of disease. And could you imagine, and Zuckerberg's admitted he's putting billions of dollars a year, and has been for well over a decade, I think, into this metaverse stuff. Well, what if there were billions of dollars a year put into nutrition, heart disease, cancers, pneumonia, and all this other stuff? What if people just told the truth about stuff, and they really gave cures to viruses and pneumonia and, gallstones, my kidney stones, people with depression. Instead of isolating people even more and force them into cubicles and saying, we're going to create some artificial world. And there's all these people rushing and all excited about working for these companies, sitting there writing code all day in, day out, to try to produce the most realistic experience, I'm sure. But it's an imitation of life. Okay? You understand that? I'm going to put that in my chat while I say this. It's just an imitation of life. That's what VR and AR are. So we've shifted into an alternative universe. And people just are like not allowing it to aren't dealing with it. It's like this. This is my universe, is why I'm hoping I could live healthy. I'm praying, meditating, whatever you want to call it. What is this Earth view? Oh, that was left over from the old days when I used to do the weather forecast. The morning show. But, think about that. I mean, it's just something that's not on people's minds. And nobody's really talking about this. And it's really starting to become quite annoying in one regard, but in the other regard, I spent hours and hours watching, I think this guy's Gundry, Dr. Gundry, I think, or something. He was talking all about, lectins, the poisons, and sugars. And, how to lower your carbs, because carbs just are sugars. But I mean, I was watching all that stuff. I've been watching Gigi Young and stuff in her early days, like 5 years ago, when she was talking about stuff. I don't know. She's an interesting character. She doesn't put out a whole hell of a lot of stuff now as much as she used to. But she might be doing that on her private channel. I don't know. Let's take a look and see if we could find her. New window. She has such a unique name that I don't think we're going to not be able to find her website. I see on Twitter she goes by Mystic Moon. Mystic in the Moon. But here, that's her. That's what she looks like. That's an older picture of her, I guess her modeling days. In 2006, Gigi Rung, a fashion model on a contract in Japan, awoke out of a deep meditation to a part of herself she thought impossible. Herself in another life or another planet. She's dedicated her life to exploring and documenting her journey into her celestial origins. I know that sounds like weird to a lot of people. But she has these courses and stuff. And this is really all New Age stuff, But yeah, there's people out there. And then there's I'm just trying to get back. Then there's Dr. Beth McDougall. I just bought her recent book, but I haven't had a chance to read it. She's got the biggest smile in the world. Medical doctor. Man, I wish she was my doctor. She talks about being a medical detective. I need to look up some of that stuff. Because that's the kind of thing that, well, anyway, that's where my head's at. There's people like that doing that. And I've showed you the Unify thing and all of that, too, on the day of, 2/22/22. It's just weird how I drink coffee to the side like that. I'm sorry. Then I get it on my mustache, and I got to pull out the handkerchief, and that looks weird too. But, there are all kinds of people out there that are just like meditating, trying. It's not like everybody's got the right idea. And some of these mysteries, and some of that stuff. There's this spirit. I was watching a guy yesterday who was also talking about this spirit. I forgot. Let's see if I can find that. Spirit Mystery School. I don't know if this is the same guy or not. See if this is this guy. Yeah, that's him. Spirit Mysteries. Yeah, I wrote that down. spiritmysteries.com. And this guy's having this thing where I don't know what the deal is, like everybody's trying to make a living, So he's going to take this course himself along with everybody, kind of live, starting on the 28th, which is tomorrow. And it's this, I'm not getting paid for this. I don't know the dude. I've watched his videos. They're interesting. But he's doing this 7-day transformation. Over the course of a week, he'll take a crown chakra approach to your life and the whole universe, and then apply it to your life down the chakra spectrum every day until you arrive at the end, grounding all of that higher awareness and wisdom into your physical body. So I'm clicking on access now and seeing he's charging $79. Man, I don't have $79 right now. I will in about a week. But I'd really like to do that. Though the thing is, he's going to do it live along with people. And let's see, here's some of the hosts. This is the dude here. This Jordan guy. And then these are some of the other people. And you might have seen this weird Patchman videos. That's where this whole, that's how I ended up first following his channel. But there's people like this, that they're out there. But you got to pay to do it, pay to play, unfortunately. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that's an awful lot of money personally or anything. I mean, these people have, they're dedicating their time to this and all that. I like the idea, create transformative and healing change within ourselves and across our planet. And there are just people that are trying to do this kind of thing. I just thought I'd turn you on to some of that stuff. But, that's where my head's at, and then my garden and things. I'm thinking of that. I mean, what else can you do but try to focus on health, happiness, good, peace, love, and all that kind of thing. Instead of being obsessed with news that, these are people that are trying to make money, or people, instead of donating $79 or some money to a course that could change your life and start to change the world, people are donated to a political campaign that money then goes to a media company and the salary of some media person who's just spewing out hate on a daily basis. And then they're going to try to elect a candidate, and they may or may not be successful, but overall, in the aggregate and in the end, 50 million people have died in the 21st century because of health issues. And a couple of million people have been murdered most unsolved. And yeah, there's a war going on, in Ukraine, and there was war and death in Afghanistan and Iraq and Syria and other places around the world that, you really can't talk about because they're like kind of like confidential, they're classified. But, the U.S. is like, is assisting and involved in all kinds of activities around the world. And so what are they going to do? Are you going to change your life for the better? Are you going to focus on truth and beauty? Right? Are you going to realize that energy produces matter? So in effect, your perception and reality and even the physical world is controlled by where your head's at. And then maybe you can shift into back into the universe, a universe of peace. And as far out and crazy as it may sound, a universe of sunrises and sunsets where everyone's healthy. All right. I know that sounds ridiculous. It sounds idealistic. It might even sound insane, but it's not. I mean, that's physics, right? Energy, equals E equals MC squared. Matter comes from energy, the Big Bang Theory. I mean, I don't necessarily believe the Big Bang Theory per se, okay? But I mean, even if you are, an atheist who's a hardliner and believes in hard science and, you accept the idea of energy, basically the metaphysical, creating the physical and matter. I mean, you could word it any way you want to, but that's really what it's saying. Energy creates matter. Perception is reality. The real world, your consciousness, your soul consciousness, or whatever you want to call it, the power of the energy, the spirit, is the thing that gives life. I mean, this is a little off topic, and this is maybe what you would consider woo-woo, which I'm starting to hate that phrase, that woo-woo thing. I don't think there is any woo-woo, It's all just people thinking of things. It's the human brain, It's like science fiction. It's like, a big chunk of science fiction, what was science fiction years ago, even over 100 some years ago. You go back to H.G. Wells and stuff. But I mean, old science fiction, good chunk of that stuff all came true. A lot of these people were just visionaries in many ways. They were just thinkers. They were using the human brain. If you could dream it, you can achieve it, type of thing. If you know it, you could become it. You have to believe in something. You have to live for a reason other than just to go to work. Now, I know that they've got, people live in gilded cages, and that work has become fun for many people. Until it's not. It's just like the gilded cage. It's great until it's not. But that's the part you don't think about. But eventually you discover that. You may now be living in a gilded cage, so you don't know it. And you may have a job where you look forward to going to work every day. And you think you have friends at work and stuff like that. But, it may come to a screeching halt and an end. It does. It seems pretty much for most people it does. So I'm not getting down like yesterday. If you want to watch yesterday's show, because I talk about, the repercussions and how things are falling apart, at the seams and stuff. Which is why the gilded cage and why the job that you might look forward to going to work and, is going to come to an end. But, I'm happy for you if you are in that gilded cage right now. I mean, I was in a gilded cage many times in my life. Like I said, I lived in Malibu and I used to watch the sunset like every night when I lived there from my deck, waiting for like the green flash. That classic green flash at the moment when the sun goes down. The elusive green flash. Only people who watch a lot of sunsets know what I'm talking about. Know that story. But like I told you, I enjoyed the cityscapes when I lived in Manhattan on a penthouse level of a building. Looking out over the, and then going to the roof and just looking out over the cityscape of lights and stuff. We're going out into the desert and looking up at the stars. So many stars. Or again, being on the beach in a lifeguard stand, watching the moon over the water. Knowing the beauty of making love, with a woman, listening to great music, being in bands, creating music and having that stuff, that energy flow through your body and come out through your hands into a guitar and just be transported into some other place and time. Timeless, actually, is no time. Just having this thing happen, connecting with other individuals and just playing in a, basically a garage band, for lack of a better description. And everybody just somehow linking into some syncing together. And it's looking at each other and just letting this stuff flow through you. Energy. But there's so many experiences like that, and it's just the same as going through a gallery and looking at art and, and sculptures and architecture and beautiful buildings and, whatever. Watching, planting seeds and watching them grow and then consuming the fruit, and stuff of that nature. I mean, there are so many things. I mean, the list goes on. Reading somebody's book, story, or getting inside the mind of an individual. That's why I write my books and songs and do these things, just exploring, being transported into my world. Like right now, you're transported into my world for the moment.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
It's just my world and welcome to it. But the so-called powers that be, they don't want you. I have 0 viewers. People, they don't want you hearing this kind of talk. So they just play with algorithms and all kinds of stuff, so keep it hidden. And, some of these people that I just showed you before and stuff, and sometimes I look, some people have videos they're up for 7 years and they eventually get a lot of views. A fairly amount of views. But I watch some other people that, they don't have that many views on things. I don't know what the views were. I mean, I want to look at this. Maybe this thing, because you should check it out. I won't leave it up to you because you probably already forgot what I talked about. But it was Unify YouTube. Come with me now. Let's see if we can find that. No, How about Unify YouTube? Let's just look up Unify. Actually, this is so crazy. See, they don't even want you to find this stuff, but people will find it. So let's go to YouTube and let's search. This is it. Come as you are. All right. You got to check out. This is really sad. This is really great. And you won't be able to hear it, but I think you might be able to. I'm going to put the mic. This is Unify, but these are people performing simultaneously together, edited together, but through those headphones. Now, wasn't that amazing? Now, I don't know if you noticed, but, and I'm sure you heard it, you know, I mean, it probably wasn't as loud as it could be. I don't know if they're going to give me a warning, heads up. We decided copyrighted, let's see. audio and video in your stream may be temporarily blocked. See, isn't that weird? What kind of cruelty is that? Heads up. There were only, if this video, if you can still hear me, like, I don't know. There were only 22 views on that. And that was up yesterday. I put a like on it, so that made 5. They're saying it's copyrighted, but it's a cover song and it's about peace and love. Do you see what I mean? What kind of craziness is that? We've decided to copyrighted audio and they're going to temporarily block my video. So you see what I mean about how they're hiding this from us? And do you understand how that there are beautiful people out there trying to unify and do good things, but that it's all being blocked? See, they're being blocked just as bad as I am. 22 views on something like that? Oh, you know? I mean, so yeah, I'm on walking on eggshells now because I don't know. That warning's still up. It's like, what are they doing? Why don't they get rid of that stupid thing? You see what I mean? Just like get rid of it. Excellent connection, temporary blocked. Who knows what they're going to do? So they're going to like cut out that portion. Anyway, it was a Come As You Are. It's a Kurt Cobain cover song by Unify. So if you've watched this video and there's some kind of like blank portion of it, go to YouTube and look up Unify and look at Come As You Are and watch that and have your mind blown. It's a beautiful thing. It's just a bunch of people from all around the world, you know, from a guy, you know, from an Aboriginal in Australia playing a didgeridoo to people in every, you know, countries on every continent singing and playing, you know, their own instruments, you know, their own cultural instruments, you know, all ethnic, you know, and, you know, backgrounds. It's all inclusive. But see, that's what I'm saying. We've been shifted into an alternative universe. Like I say, so hopefully you can even hear this part to at least know enough that if they block that out and that's skipped, you can at least go and find this thing, Unify. I'll put it in my chat. So if you check my chat right now, Unify video for Come As You Are. So you can check on the chat thing to see that. I don't even know if I'm live broadcasting now, even though it says I have an excellent connection and I'm 30 frames per second. But see, they have the control when this video processes. And like always, like I say, it takes the wind out of your sails, you know, when this kind of stuff happens. So it's as if they not only hiding sunsets from us and sunrises, like this beautiful sunrise Trey took, who was on the show with us a couple of days ago, or last week, whenever it was, I lost track of time. This past week it was, I think. Yeah, it was this week. Because they've outpriced the real estate and stuff like that, you know, or people don't, not everybody lives there. And they want to create this imitation of life. And the news media and politicians want to focus on war and divisiveness. See, it doesn't matter. See, that the video, and I hope, like I say, I hope this portion of the video exists and they don't cut this out. Because when you watch that video, nobody's caring about race, creed, or color, or anything of that sort. It's just a bunch of people getting together to do this interesting far out thing. Because the way I understand it is like they're all wearing these headphones. So I believe they're all interconnected to a server, and they were performing that live together in unison. I mean, which is amazing if that's if that's how it happened. Talk about unify. And it's quite possible with the internet to do that kind of thing and more. But to say, oh, it's a copyright thing, it's not like, why? So it shouldn't be. And why would that need to be blocked anyway? Why don't they just put a commercial on and give it to, what is it? Are the record companies in on this? I mean, who's in on that? What's the deal? It's a cover. It's a cover. It's not even a, I don't get it. I didn't see a commercial on there to begin with. It's really weird, man. So that's what I'm saying. Have we shifted into an alternative universe without knowing it? Yeah, I think we have. Because you have to get this into your head. And like I say, again, I hope you can hear my voice. I hope they don't cut this part out. Because if there's anything about this video, I want to get this across. And then I'll probably end early. Look, that video only got 25 views. And I think 2 of those views are mine because I watched it once on my TV upstairs. There were only 4 likes on it. I just clicked and put a 5th like on it. The whole Unify thing, it was a global movement on 2/22/22, and it looked like that channel, the Unify channel, only had like maybe worldwide out of 8 billion people on the planet, maybe 7 billion followers, or people, like subs, so to speak. But I mean, 22 views. And and you could go across, like I say, I've watched some of these other people I've mentioned, some of these other sites I show you from time to time. And they have like 15 views. They're as bad as I am. I mean, nobody's as bad as I am. I might get 7 views. Lately I've been getting like, closer to 7 views on some things, 8 views. There's 1 or 2 things that have gotten as high as 33. In the past couple of months or so. I mean, years ago, I got thousands of views. But I mean, it's like, since I've been trying to spread the word, of the truth, you say truth, speak truth to power, so to speak, then, they've like blocked me. And there you saw it. I don't know if you saw the part where it said the warning, but I just hope that's on the screen. I'm curious to see what happens. I'm curious to watch it. I don't know when that's going to occur. That may have occurred now, may occur at the end of this video when it's put together. It may not, the whole entire video may not post, in which case is why I'm going to end early. Because I'm not going to stand here or sit here and talk to myself. But I think we've shifted into an alternative universe without knowing it. The world is a beautiful place. You have a soul consciousness. You have whatever you want to call it, spirit consciousness. Energy creates matter. That's science. That's just sound science. Perception is reality. All right. That's science. There are many people in our leading institutions studying, how humans perceive things, what we do perceive, don't perceive, how our perception can change things. Yesterday I was talking about the biome, and all that stuff. And we still have to come to grips with the fact that far more people are dying from disease. 50 million people in the 21st century died from disease in this country that could have been prevented, treated, or cured. And a couple million people were murdered, and most of those murders went unsolved. And people right now are glued to the TV about a war that's an ocean away. And as sad and pathetic as it is, it pales in comparison to what happened in Afghanistan and, you know, Iraq. 600,000 people in Iraq were bombed because, you know, for what? Weapons of mass destruction? The Vietnam War, for what? For some domino theory that never came to reality, you know, was manufactured in some war game, literally in the Pentagon or a think tank. Not to mention, like I said, these people today, young people today, they don't even understand. One guy who I respected, who was covering the Canadian thing, he didn't understand. He goes, I don't understand what that Banana Republic phrase means. I wish I knew. I had no idea it was the CIA, you know, using a fruit company as, you know, to conduct coups and murder people and stuff like that. Anyway, like I say, I don't know if you're going to see this, if this video, the whole thing would be collapsed, banned, cut out, just because it was about truth and beauty and love and peace. Imagine that, man. Imagine that. Anyway, I'm at ROCKFLUX.com and future videos. And if this is taken down, they may leave it on my site. And if that is the case, I'll download it from there. Sometimes they do that, allow you to download it. And I'll put it on Rumble. But it would be a day late then if I do it to Rumble. Anyway, take care. Be healthy, happy, think positive, and try to get back to our real universe, not this alternative reality that seems to be enveloping us and controlling and manipulating everything we do, think and feel, and this push towards some sort of altered reality, this virtual reality, this transhumanist nonsense. It's such a waste of time and such a waste of effort and all of these resources that could have gone into saving tens of millions, if not, who knows, maybe 100 million people or 1 billion people in the last several decades.